Whenever I see an empty aquarium, I think of the possibilities within these four glass walls. What kind of aquatic world will I design? What substrate will I use? What type of hardscape and plants will I choose? And finally, what will inhabit this tank? About 2 months ago, I came across a species of shrimp that I knew I must have. There were only a few remaining, and so I purchased them, brought them home, and placed them in a quarantine tank. I'll go over the details of these shrimp a little later in the video, but first let's build them a home. For this build, I'll be using a 5-gallon tank that I've had lying around for a while. The size of this tank is perfect, as these shrimp are extremely small. For the hardscape, I'm going with Cereus stone and manzanita wood, as I feel they really complement each other. Before I get started, this tank needs backing. I've got some foam board that I picked up at an arts and crafts store, and I'm going to cut it down to size. This backing will help make everything stand out a little bit more, and will also hide any equipment and wiring that's behind the tank. As this is a rim tank, placing the foam board in place was actually very easy. I used some Gorilla Tape to keep it in place, and the whole thing worked out really well. I really love using foam board on my rim tanks, so much so that I've even used it on the two 20-gallon tanks that you see in the background. Since the tank is small, I'm using play sand for the substrate to create a more balanced and proportionate environment for these shrimp. The sand is very affordable, and you should be able to find it at your local home improvement store. It's also inert and won't affect the water parameters either. I really love the natural color of the sand. It's time for the hardscape, and this is where everything starts to take shape. I love trying to figure out how to fit the rocks and wood together, as it's like a puzzle. It just takes a little bit of time and patience and a lot of playing around to make it work. Sometimes, I like limiting the amount of hardscape I work with to push myself to work with what I have. There are so many grooves and crevices in this one piece of stone that I'm going to make it the focal point of this build. The wood will wrap around the stone while also emerging from it. To give the stone a sense of scale, I place some smaller stones around it, which I think makes the whole design look a lot more interesting. I'm amazed that everything is falling into place. To keep the wood in place, I'm gluing it all down using cyanoacrylite liquid glue, which is aquarium safe. I left the tank for about an hour so that the glue could harden, and now everything is looking sturdy. It's time for the plants. I've got some Anubias nana petite, Anubias nana golden coin, Bucephalandra, and Bulbitis. These plants are all hardy, low demanding, and epiphytes, meaning they will be attached to the hardscape instead of being planted into the substrate. Another reason why I chose them is because they can stand aquarium salt, something that I need to have in this tank at all times for these particular shrimp. I also want to try something a little different by not using any stem plants. Some of these plants fit into place easily, as I can wedge them in the gaps between the wood and stone. I'm gluing the Anubias nana golden coin down as I'm placing it on one of the open branches. For this, I'm using cyanoacrylite gel glue, which again is aquarium safe. I've got this dimmable LED aquarium light which I purchased on Amazon, and it'll be perfect for this tank. I'll keep it on a low setting as these plants don't require high lighting, and once the tank is filled up, it'll give off a nice ripple effect. The clasp on this light is built for rimless tanks, and as a quick fix, I'm placing a plastic bottle cap in the space between the clasp and the glass so that it stands up straight and doesn't lean forward. I place a feeding dish in the tank and the hose into the dish so that the substrate won't get disturbed as the tank fills up. One thing you'll notice with the substrate is that when you initially fill up the tank, air bubbles tend to get trapped under the grains of sand, causing them to rise to the surface. You will need to disturb the surface a bit to get rid of the bubbles, which will then cause the sand to fall back down. I'm using Seachem Prime to dechlorinate the water, as this product will remove any chlorine and chloramine. For a tank of this size, 1 milliliter is the perfect amount. To kickstart the nitrogen cycle, I use 5 milliliters of Seachem Stability, as it contains beneficial bacteria. I use 1 milliliter of API AccuClear to help clear up the water. This product binds any loose particles together, making it easier for the filter to pick up. Finally, I use 5 milliliters of Thrive S all-in-one liquid fertilizer, which is shrimp safe as it does not contain any copper. If you're interested in purchasing any of these products, I'll leave a link in the description for you. I let the tank sit for about a month to let it cycle, and this also allowed new life and biofilm to form. Biofilm is a natural food made up of microorganisms that shrimp love to feed on. If you place shrimp in a new tank shortly after building it, they can easily starve because it takes a little over a week for biofilm to start forming. You'll then have to use commercial foods to offset their diet, which could affect your water quality as you can experience ammonia spikes which are deadly to shrimp. If you'd like to learn how to grow biofilm easily in your tank, check out the video I've linked above. For optimal circulation, I placed my filter in the middle of the tank. I also used a piece of plastic which I cut out from a water bottle to baffle the flow. Below the filter, I also placed a heater to ensure the temperature is always at a stable level. My room is not heated, and so fluctuations in temperature easily happen. I also wasn't satisfied with the amount of stones I'd used in the tank originally, and so I placed a few more. This will give the shrimp lots of places to climb and graze on. It's finally time to add the shrimp, the moment we've been waiting for. The shrimp I'm adding are purple zebra shrimp. They're rare and I only managed to purchase 8 of them, but I'll definitely be getting more in the future. I'm adding a little aquarium salt to the water as these shrimp tend to thrive in water with a little bit of salinity. Purple zebra shrimp are extremely small. They tend to max out at around 1/4 inch in size, making them 3/4 of an inch smaller than a male Neocaridina shrimp. Unlike other freshwater shrimp, these shrimp do not have a rostrum, basically their nose, which results in their eyes being very close together. They tend to have a translucent body with multiple purple stripes, a color that's rare in shrimp. A fascinating thing about these shrimp is when they molt, their stripes become red, then orange, before returning to purple again. They also require brackish water for their offspring to survive, similar to a mono shrimp. There's not a lot of information out there about them, but in the future I will create a care guide for these shrimp. Now, these shrimp are extremely shy and love to hide, usually in a group. These 8 shrimp of mine hid all the time behind the stones, and it took me over a week to get the footage that you're seeing now. I thought I'd let you know this in case you ever decide to purchase these shrimp. Well, I hope you enjoyed this tank build today for my purple zebra shrimp. I'll keep you updated on how they're doing if I ever do see them again. If you're planning to get into shrimp keeping or wanting to try different species of shrimp, check out the following video. Additionally, if you'd like to support me in making these videos, take a look at my Patreon and join the SKITTLE squad. Your subscription to this channel also means a lot to me. I'm Andy, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.